I really don't want to hate them. A lot of people are like, just be patient with them. It's like, no, I love them. I really love them.
Don't ruin it.
And I want to chop them off so that I can look forward to having them again. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I should have cut them off so long ago and no, I'm never having them again. I don't want to be that person. I love them. I love having them. I love the process of growing them. I love like the transformation as they grow. I love the way that they change and the story changes. And like, no matter how you want them to look, they're going to do their own thing.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know. It's a
I
real,
spent a good 5 years looking at a crazy person.
it's a real,
My dreads ever look like
it
real
really is a
dreads.
character builder to be patient, to go through all the phases, just like with tattoos and any other like transformation of the body. There's this like level of patience and this level of character building where like you've got to see it through. Like you can't jump into it and not see it through. You can't start dreads and then not take care of them. Like you can't start a tattoo and not finish it. You can't like, you can't do any body modification surgery without then doing the follow-up, like whether it's working out or like it's one of those, like, no matter how you look at it, like
willingness to engage.
one of the really cool things about dreadlocks is it really is an art of patience, like whether you're the person doing them or the person wearing them. Like it really is a character building thing, and to learn to have the patience to sleep with them. And you know, like sometimes it's uncomfortable, and when you first get them done, they're tight and uncomfortable, and then they grow out and now they're fuzzy and crazy looking. And
mine became so heavy. It became very heavy on my neck, so it causing me consistent neck problems. I was always compensating my neck in a different way because the weight of my hair would be off one way. And personally, I could never wear my hair down. It's just something that bugged me. I mean, always, project oriented person. So like I'm always head over top of something that I'm working on.
Yeah, my bun is giant right now. It's not even really a bun. It's just this like giant half loop knot that keeps my hair from kind of touching my neck, but it's so long that like it's big as my head. My hair is as big as my head or bigger. I don't have a very big head.
Some must have your head.
It's a big hair. But yeah, so it's going to be a drastic change when I chop my dreads, but it's not really a drastic change, and I'm going to grow them back. So I'm preparing anybody that actually watches and pays attention. I was going to try and wait till fall, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm getting impatient with them.
It's the end of August. Fall's
It's fall.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm to the point where I'm looking forward to cutting them off now.
Right.
Like it's like I'm counting down whatever day it happens to be that I'm like,
Should we do it today?
I don't know if today's the day, but probably soon.
I mean, I could use a touch up. You want to set up a smoking cut session?
I mean, it's funny because the guy that cuts my hair, he's my buddy Aaron, and I said something to him about cutting my dreads off, and he's like, he kind of looked at me funny because like his mom wore dreads for years and years, and when she cut her dreads off, I think it was when she turned 50, and like she and her sisters like made it a thing. They got their dreads together, they cut them off together. Da da da. He's like, I'm like, everything's fine. I'm just like, I'm ready for the next set. I'm ready to start the next journey. And he was like, so then he shows me this picture of this news anchor. She's like, I don't know, on CNN or something, but she's got like a blonde pixie that she stands straight up. I was like, yeah, that's a Jimmy Neutron that I was talking about. He's like, oh, well, I could see you with your hair like that if it's short. And I was like, yeah, that's like the only option I'll have. First of all, like I can go G.I. Jane or I can go Jimmy Neutron. I'd rather go Jimmy Neutron. And then I showed him who Jimmy Neutron was, and he laughed.
Right. It fits. It plays.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want company, we can always do it.
We could make it happen. I could just hack them off and then brush them into a messy mess, throw a hat on it, be done with it.
Sounds less fun.
Jordan, what if Ben and I had the same haircut?
I don't know.
Can you put your hair up into a bouffant, like a DA?
Yeah, with the right equipment.
I would be accepted.
Get you some pomade, some of that Dapper Dan.
In any form.
Can we go get like cheesy like twins pictures taken? Like go get the same outfits?
As long as they're 70s news anchor looking outfits.
Baller.
We're gonna ham this up.
Yes.
You know what we need to do just for prop's sake? We need to find an old like 1987 full on like over the shoulder
Over-the-shoulder
VHS.
camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it
30
just
pounds
like as a
extra.
prop for when we're interviewing people. Like we'll really have like that one following us around, or like maybe even a drone, but you'll have this like dinosaur.
Always awkwardly in the background, like
shaky hands.
yeah, shaky hand.
Right.
What we could really do is we could design one and make it to where we put like a high resolution like GoPro or something at the front of it so we can actually send feed through
I
it.
wonder if we could find one that we could just set that inside of. I wonder if one already
Build a
exists.
mount for that
Mhm.
that looks
Like you know how they've got the Polaroids that you can really
Yeah.
connect to your smartphone, but you get the Polaroid print.
just build a case for one of the cameras we already have that essentially exudes the old timey. Can we get a guy to follow us around with a big fuzzy boom mic and like inappropriately put it in places?
I think this should be part of our shtick.
You know, we should do on top of that is we should just get something. We should just get like a Polaroid camera that we can take Polaroids whenever we're interviewing people for like all the events that we do.
I was thinking
Polaroids
about
are
getting a
instant moment,
Polaroid
man, so I love
just
'em.
because. Did we talk about this on another show recently?
Not that I remember, but we
Polaroids?
talk a lot. So
I don't know.
Um,
But I've been thinking a lot about Polaroids. I've wanted to get myself a camera
shake
just
it
for
like
that.
a
I think it's cool
Polaroid
just to be able to print them
picture.
out. I just like all the Polaroids lately are like
Good
this big.
Lucy-Lou.
It's expensive for the ones that do good Polaroids,
Right.
but I want one that does good
Well,
Polaroids.
they
It'd
also
be a lot-
have 'em
It'd
that
be a
will-
lot of fun for events being able to just take.
They will
pictures.
instant print and then they'll upload, so you can then
Oh,
keep
Chris.
them
Right, so
your
you got-
cloud.
Chris
Wow.
was
We got
talking
both of
about
that.
the Polaroids
Get a
that he
real picture,
takes
and
when
then
he
you can just
travels.
give them their picture.
Right, digital print. as
That's
well.
so nice.
Hear me? I remembered.
I didn't even think about that.
Couple episodes ago we had Chris Taylor on, and he was showing off his Polaroid collection as he was traveling to promote for his convention. He took Polaroids of everybody that
Oh,
he was
that's
with.
right. Yeah.
I really like that idea. I've been thinking about that since we spoke, and we should do that, especially once in the very very near future. I want to kind of start hitting the road and hitting other shops and like coordinating schedules and
We can build a scrapbook of our travels.
aw, tattoo collecting scraps.
Right.
Get a business card from where we stop. Put it
Mhm.
in with the Polaroid of the peoples.
Yep, we
Like
should start doing
Polaroids.
that. I really want to start hitting other studios. That's going to be a very, very near future thing. I'd like to start doing little mini couple day road trips where we can hit several studios and then have like a half-hour segment for each studio.
I
So-
think that sounds like a blast.
So being that next week's the 50th episode, I think starting with 51, we're gonna be switching gears and like kind of taking this to the next level. Gabe's working really hard to get us on to Roku. So I feel like it'll be really cool to start incorporating just all different kinds of facets.
So we're gonna shift into a multimedia name.
We've been
'Cause we're
missing each
podcast.
other so much. I don't even think I've had a chance to brainstorm with Jordan about this, but one of the things I've been kicking around is maybe changing the name of the show to the Tattoo Collecting Show.
Tattoo collecting show.
Yeah.
Tattoo collecting show.
Yeah, because we're not technically a podcast. That was our original goal when we started working on this, was to become a podcast. But now we're so much into the video media, and since Gabe's trying to get us on Roku, I think we should just be the Tattoo Collecting Show or something similar.
I'm not super opposed to
Tattoo
it.
collecting talk.
But we're just approaching an awesome milestone to where it's time to take the next leap. Everything that we've been learning, I've been playing around with like the laptop and some of the software, and just kind of like starting to get a smooth workflow so we can just kind of travel and be different places and set up quickly. I couldn't believe how quick we set up today, guys.
I helped.
That was super
It
quick.
was the first time I've ever actually helped, so making me feel bad about that.
It's getting really fluid though.
I actually did minimal. I rolled a blunt, and I
That-
plugged some things in.
That is something someone
Today.
always does. So like
It was nice having you
Yeah.
help out. I was like, oh shit,
I
I was
like,
doing
I like being here.
I love you being here, Ben.
Oh,
Yeah, I like
Love
it. I really like having Ben on, and I like when Todd is able to join us. Apparently he's in the casino today.
doing his
Um,
thing.
But I think it's really important. Jordan and I mean, obviously we're like passionate collectors, and like the motivation to doing this show was kind of like there are a lot of complaints that we have as tattooers, and it's really hard to complain about them over and over again because it still doesn't educate the collector. So, you know, that's one of the whole goals of this show and this project is to bridge the gap between tattooers and collectors. If we can educate collectors on like the proper etiquettes and the proper hoops to go through and the things to
make
look
their
for and the things
experience
to
more
avoid.
enjoyable.
Yeah, the things to make everything more
Right.
enjoyable. Like the goal of this is to help bridge that gap. It's to make it easier for people to find out how to find the right artist for them. And then once they find the right artist, how do they approach them? And then what's that person going to be like? And then what are all these other tattooed people going to be like? And then I want to show people like not only what are tattooed people like, but like how cool our community is. Like
Right.
we talk about Red Tree a lot, we talk about Columbus a lot, but like that just happens to be where we are. The whole tattoo community worldwide is a family, just like what we're talking about. Like it's a very, once you get to a certain, there's not a better word for it, but like a certain echelon, like once you've put the work in and you've kind of made it through the crowd, it's a very close-knit community. Like we all know one another. Our clients start to know one another. Our clients start to recognize one another.
Right.
And that's where it gets really cool. Like, we're talking about like all these spacey things and technology and this, that, and the third, but like as like passionate collectors and passionate artists, like those are where our brain goes,
Right.
and I don't know, it just connects us all, and it's such a special thing. And I want people to be aware that like when you're getting a tattoo, like
You're not just getting a tattoo.
are you necessarily like joining a fraternity or anything like
You in
that?
the club.
No, but
You got
like
beat in.
basically, especially when you see people with big work, because that they sat through and they've experienced some of the things that you've sat through. And
there's a break in my mind. There's people that are, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible. There's people that are trinket tattoo collectors. They want that small, they want that unique, they want that, and that's absolutely fine if that's your style. But when you run into somebody that's like a passionate collector and has a full piece of any body suit size of any limb that is completely covered, even if it's a half sleeve, somebody that has taken the time to dedicate into it, you reach a point where it's just like you crest this, oh, I get it, because I've spent so much time in the shop. And then when you go to these conventions, people recognize that as I don't want to, there's levels to this shit.
It's kind of like I see
the effort you've put in. I've seen it. You've you know what I mean? So it's a visual representation of the time you've been willing to participate in your crowd.
I don't know. I feel like
chicken tonight, like chicken tonight.
I just feel like
it's an easy way to recognize a like-minded individual.
There we go.
Yeah.
Those are the words that I'm looking for.
It's
like
not
we can see each other in a crowd, and our tattoos might not even be remotely similar. Like I look at your tattoo work and my tattoo work,
it's completely
totally different. But like at the same time, like
it's an instant
you earned that just the same as I did. Like, oh, you got your back worked on at a convention too. Oh, you know how much it sucks.
Right. It's an instant, like we've shared experiences, we've bonded, even not in the same room. That we've been willing to commit to something.
Jordan's got to leave. They're gonna go turn on the gas at our new
sorry guys.
Studio.
Okay.
I might be back for an ending. You guys can wrap up whenever, but I should be back pretty quick here.
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes away. You got this.
15 minutes.
You got
20
this.
minutes.
But anyways, big things are happening.
Right.
Drive careful. We'll see you in a few.
I'm gonna get that gas turned on.
Yes, sir.
I'll be right back.
But it's an easy way to see someone that at least on some level you have a mental click with. It's like seeing somebody with your favorite band shirt on.
Yep.
You can go up and talk about.
You've got more in common than just the tattoo.
Right.
There's something that aligns with that person, that they felt passionately enough to sit there and have this mark.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you've got to sit through pain to collect any tattoo, and you've got to be patient, and you've got to go through the healing process, and you've got to adjust your life. Like
Right.
those are all sacrifices that we all make to collect tattoos. So that says something about somebody's mental fortitude.
Right.
First of all, that
Right.
says something about somebody's mental fortitude. And then you see somebody with really nice work, and it's like, oh, not only do you have mental fortitude and stamina to sit
You've
through
got
something
good
like that, but
taste.
you've got good taste, and you must work really hard and
Right.
put that into things that you care
Right.
about to have this.
So at one point I was at a show, it was a Devil Driver concert, and had been standing next to these guys all night. Came in, it's dark, we kind of made our little niche, we both held spots while we, went on to the bathroom and whatever else, and came back up, like thanks for making space when we whole show, right into the show, the lights come up, and he's standing next to me on the opposite side. So both of the arms that were next to each other had the exact same Sailor Jerry flash tattoo, done extremely traditionally, extremely correct, in the same style and the same. And it was one of those, like, we stood through this whole show. So anytime you watch live music with me, I feel like you bond with the people around you.
Mhm.
Even the
You're
smallest level.
sweating all over each other.
You
You're
have-
breathing each other's air in and out. You're
Y'all just
spilling
set your
each other's beer on each other.
You all just set your minds to the same frequency.
Faux show.
Like-
But there's so much exchange that goes on in live
Absolutely.
music.
So we get done, and we've already shared this experience, and we've both been screaming and yelling, "Woo, yeah, our favorite band." And then we get done, and we both have the same tattoo in the exact same spot on opposite arms, like literally, like we both dropped down and we're like,
Did we just become tattoo
"What
brothers?
the fuck?" Like, it was so weird. And I'll never forget that. Do I remember that guy's face? No. Do you think I even learned his name that evening? No. But there was this instant, like,
All right.
all right.
But that's kind of the funny thing about the polarity of how like comes together
Right,
and like
right.
gravitates, because of the 100 people that close
Yep,
to the stage
yep.
that you could have
I
stood beside.
instantly went to him. Well, I mean, in that same receiving frequency mindset. So your brain's designed to send and receive electronic signals. It's what it does. It's a nervous system, even to control your body. That's what it does. Thoughts are amplifications of that signal. So when you're in an environment that is creating a beat, if you're in an environment that's creating a frequency, a noise, a
It's like
connection,
liquid.
it is
You
something that
get
is
in the flow of it.
literally why you feel that connection at a show. You walk in, you're like, oh, this room is hitting, this is on. Like, there's a vibe. And they're saying when you go to a packed club and the DJ's on and everybody's jumping, and
That
you
energy
feel
shifts.
that. Like, that's AKA religious experience, for lack of a better term. And it's like, to reset to onto that frequency, you are then now attracting all the same frequencies around you. To have that weird opportunity of just being polarized to a like individual, it really like sculpts the way I thought about how human interaction was. Like, that specific show was like, just like you're saying, of all the people in the room, of everywhere I could have went, I walked up to somebody that, like, obviously we're at the same show, we have a background, a base of things that we like, but like to have that, like, oh my God, were we supposed to stand next to each other? Like,
Okay, universe. I
yeah,
see what you did there.
I see you.
I see you making yourself known.
It's like running into somebody out of state from hometown. You ever done that?
Oh yeah.
It's
It's
awkward.
weird. It's like, that can't be so and so.
I'm walking in Vegas,
Sure enough.
Las Vegas, walking down Fremont Street. I was there for pool. It was the first night we were there, and I hear Denny Michaels, Bozeman. Well, I don't know what he goes by on the internet, but I hear his laugh, and I'm like, no way. And I turn around, and he's like, no way. Like, of the whole strip, Vegas is huge. You know what I mean? Like, to be off strip, same place, same time, to run into a hometown homie that's like, what? I think we're supposed to hang out for a minute, bro. It was super, super, super weird. Or I went to the airport one time, got on the plane with people I knew that were also going to the same place to catch a connector flight. So it was like, oh, are you going to the same thing? What are you doing here?
Last time I went out west, one of my clients who, like, I talk about science and technology and aliens with, was on the same flight as us.
Right.
Yeah. It's always fun to see just familiar faces anywhere. It reminds you that the world is little, and even though we're all coming and going, it makes a difference. Like,
Yeah.
this is why it matters how you treat people. Like, you
Mhm.
never know when, like, you just never know when you're going to see that person again, or you're going to connect with that person again. Like, even if it's just a brief introduction of somebody,
Right,
like,
right.
the community is so small but so big at the same time that, like, you see each other again, you cross paths again.
So,
like,
weird little tidbit along that same line. I recently had to fly and did a little bit of emergency travel, back and forth within 48 hours. Happened to get laid over at the same airport twice, right? And I wasn't feeling really well traveling, and had to go. And I went back to the same place and sat back down. I got the same server like the
Mhm.
next day, and I got that like, what is
do you live here, sir?
I remember
Are you
from
lost?
it's an air.
Is this deja vu?
Nah, I just laid over twice. So doing a bounce back. It's awkward, not awkward, but unique. Like, what are the chances of being in a busy airport and running back into the same service? She's like, do you want the same thing? I was like, actually, yes, thank you. Made it easy, made it convenient. Yeah. If I would have been a jerk to her the day before, imagine coming back and her being like,
You again?
but instead it was, hey, how you doing? You feeling okay?
Ben probably left an impression too. Usually he's a pretty generous tipper when we
I wouldn't go
hang
that
out
far.
together. Some people leave 18% and that's it, and they consider that generous.
Depends on where I'm at. You charge me $32 for biscuits, you're getting 15%. Sorry. I'm just
I
kidding.
bet this wasn't that day though.
No. More
It
of
makes
them.
a difference to servers though, to just know that they're appreciated.
Yeah,
Like, money aside, when
Manners.
servers get treated well, like,
correct.
there would be nothing more degrading than being treated poorly and then being left a big tip. It'd be like, I don't even want
I
this
don't want
salty
your
money.
I don't want your money.
I don't want it.
I'm also a verbal tipper in the best way, because like, if you show appreciation through the meal, thank you very much, may I please, type of behavior, for lack of a better term, and then tip well, it generally and genuinely leaves a, oh, I did a good job. That person's day was changed because of our interaction. There's a magic that happens, especially with food. I came up in restaurants. I know we've touched on that before, but like, there's a magic that happens when somebody comes in a bad mood because they're hungry, they're tired, they've been at work all day, they've been stressed out, and they need that moment to sit, refuel, recharge, become a person again.
Mhm.
And if you handle that interaction gracefully, everybody's cranky before they order food. They're hungry.
Everybody's in a rush, wants seated right now.
They've waited. Well, even if they haven't waited, you walk in and sit right down. They're still like, I want my drink now. I want my food now, because that's the mindset you're in.
Mhm.
That's the, I need to be catered to, and I need food. It's not a want. You need that. So your body naturally changes your attitude to seek that. So everybody's short when they're hungry. Hangry is real. It's a thing.
Yes.
So servers deal with that all day, every day. And to have that true appreciation, and to have that, I made their day better. They came in grumpy. They got what they wanted. Their food was great. It was on point. Everything was perfect. They left in a better mood. There's magic in that. You can literally change. You ever heard a full person that had a good meal be like, oh, that was horrible? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist after a good meal. And you know what I'm saying? You're genuinely stuffed and happy. Fat and happy is a thing.
Mhm.
Like, I let this go out.
Oh, it's all right.
Um,
I mean, that's our goal. Is to yak.
yeah, I guess.
Yakety-yak.
But there's to show that true appreciation, I feel like, goes a long way. And it's the same with the way you interact with your tattooer. They're pouring their soul into what they're doing. This is their art, their skill, their craft. And to not have that entitlement when you deal with people that are doing you a goddamn favor is important. especially in a tattoo. That's a lifetime mark. That
Mhm.
is them pouring their creation onto your skin. And to have this, what do you mean I can't come in at noon? What do you mean I have to be on a waiting list? I
You
can't
know,
pay you more to jump up ahead. What do you mean I can't do this?
this is something I was just talking
Fuck
about with
off.
the other night when we were working on. She had a few questions for me about some people that had messaged me, and we just kind of went down that rabbit hole of like, and it doesn't come from necessarily being rude. Like a lot of times people truly think they're doing you a favor. Like, I'm ready to come in right now. I'm ready to put my money in your hand.
Right.
But they don't understand that there's a line of 50 or 60 people ahead of you that are equally as enthusiastic to like
Again,
pay for my time.
sense of
And
entitlement.
yeah, it's
Even if it's non-aggressive,
yeah.
even if it's not intentional, it's a
Well,
it's a thing.
one of the complaints that I have gotten here and there is that it's very impersonal to do everything through email, which I only handle things through email
In
and
the
through
beginning.
my manager up until our consultation. And then from our consultation on, like every time we see each other, you get my undivided attention and time,
But
and you
that's why
get my
there is a
entire
filter
day,
process.
and you get like, I guess one of the things that we were talking about is like, for me, okay, it might be a little impersonal to like describe your idea to somebody else who's kind of like filtering ideas for me. Yeah, that might be a little impersonal, but when we sit down one-on-one, you're getting 100% of me.
Right.
Like, you get my attention, not only my attention, but you get like my emotional space. You
Right.
get my creative space. You get 100% of me as a person and like
that's
as a spirit.
lot.
That's really a lot to ask of somebody. So when you want me to, when I want to give you 100%, but I still have 4 hours of 30 other people to talk to in that day,
Mhm.
I'm already emotionally exhausted and drained before I even get to work, because I've talked to so many people about ideas that may or may not be something that like is up my alley, but like I want to do it for them. I feel obligated to do it for them, but they're not on the same wavelength as
Right.
what I'm trying to make or as like what's coming out of me.
Right.
So like it's a really funny thing to be like, no, I mean, like, yes, it is impersonal, but it's kind of like to protect my energy so I can give
Yeah.
you even more when it's your turn.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Instead of like, I've already given everybody else 25% of me today. All that's left is 75% for me to give to you. I'm going to have all these other ideas whirling in my head from these other people that I talked to earlier. And my headspace is already so wound up with so much that like I'm half spent
Yep.
brainstorming about ideas by the time I get to work.
Yeah.
So when I have somebody else handle that first initial part for me, and she saves me all of that headspace and all of that like back and forth of just like brainstorming and like, you know, encouraging the idea to be better or closer to like
Right.
what I'm looking for, or like just like the subtle little tweaks to an idea that will take it from like a mediocre everyday tattoo to like, oh, that's going to be something rad.
Right.
Like having somebody else do that initial process allows me to be relaxed during the day. Like I can get my few personal errands done and I can show up like 100% ready
Right.
to create and ready to like focus on this one project. And then when you get 100% of that, it's so easy for me to just tap into whatever that creative source is that like
Yeah.
pushes it out of my
Yeah.
hands. It's so
You don't
much
have
easier.
to unclog your head from the 50
Yeah.
emails you just went through
Yeah,
first.
like I can sit down and I can, you know, like we all know I smoke weed. So, you know,
No.
I usually, if my clients smoke, I smoke with them, but I always invite them with me, even if they
Right.
don't smoke. Like I let everybody know at my consultation that like this is kind of part of my process. It helps me connect with you. Like as crazy as that sounds, like sometimes it's not even about being high, but it's opening that channel of communication.
Right.
So even if my client doesn't smoke, they get to talk with me and they get to see me as I'm like,
In real
you
life.
know, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and you've seen it. You've seen the difference when I sit down somewhere and I'm like a million miles a minute, and then we get
Yep.
to smoking, and it's like, okay, less swirl,
Let's focus.
more. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, and in an open conversation in a time of relaxation, you might even be able to develop and understand an idea a little bit better.
I
And
think it makes all the difference in the world.
develop the personality of the tattoo and
Mhm.
to have it involve more of their natural intuition and aspects.
I get
because
a lot of
you're
ideas.
learning who they are.
I get a lot of ideas when I'm talking to somebody and it's not even me brainstorming about their tattoo. It's like they'll just be talking about their kids. Cut to several weeks later, we're talking about another tattoo idea. And it'll be like, oh, I remember you said you play baseball with your kids a lot. Do you want to incorporate something like that into
Right,
this? And
right.
like to see somebody light up because A, I remembered that
Yes.
detail, but B, now I made this idea their story
Right.
instead of this generic story or this
Well-
this thing that they saw that was like an okay idea, but now it's special,
And
more special for them because I
when an
know them a
artist
little bit.
introduces an idea that the client is also pumped about, it builds this level of trust. Like, yes, we were on the same page.
Mhm.
You saw my vision, you interpreted it, and you understood it. And without that personal connection, it's hard to interpret somebody else's vision. So without knowing that that moment was important, without knowing that that's something that is even available, and as a tattooer, you know what's going to work as a tattoo and not an image, right?
Mhm.
So having a tattooer come to you and be like, look, you like this is going to be awesome if we can do it this way, builds this enthusiasm and builds this excitement for the we're on the same page.
Mhm.
This is going to be rad. I can't wait to see it done. We know exactly the goal, the plan, the idea. That like it builds this hype you can't buy. I remember
It's that custom hype. Like, you
Right.
know, it's built for you. You
Right.
know, all the thought was with you in mind. Like the difference between me buying, let's take this to like outside of the tattoo realm. When I'm looking at glass art, like the difference between me like looking at something and being like, I need to have that and buying it is totally different than me like hitting up an artist that I've been following for 5 years. Like, hey man, I love the way you do this, this, and this. I'd
Right.
love to have like something one-off and experimental. And then like once we start a conversation about my artwork and like
Yep.
if they pique a genuine interest in my work and my tattoos, then like now our imaginations have become connected.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what they make, like
Uh,
we've aligned and I'm gonna love it.
Mine and your, like, I know we talked about it a lot off topic, like what would be cool, but like the consultation process for figuring out what we were going to do for the back of my legs was the best for me, because it was just kind of like, oh, here's a kind of minute thing I'd like to incorporate, run with it. And to watch your brain go click click, okay, we'll start there, click click, okay, we're going to add that, okay, click click, now this is going to transfer into, oh yes, this is what we're doing. Like that inspiration to watch somebody's creative process is awe-inspiring to me. To never have had that drive to you know what I mean, like, and to watch somebody that can just take that and get so pumped about it and be like, you're almost more excited about the tattoo than I was, not in the best way.
Right.
Yes, I'm fucking pumped, don't get me wrong, but like to watch you be like, we get to do this and we're gonna throw in this, we're gonna put fucking floaty things in there, like it was just that to me builds this just, oh my god, this is gonna be epic.
And then it was like, do the colors have to make sense? Nope. Now you made it just a playground.
And that's the freedom of trust. That's the freedom of knowing that no matter what you do, I'm gonna be like that's an amazing connection that people normally don't have the luxury of.
Mhm. And I like to have that connection with every single client and every single project. Does it happen every time? No, but I love it when it does,
Right.
because those are the projects that stand out in a crowd. And those are the ones that like just grow into bigger projects. And then those end up being the clients that get to know one another, because you end up coming to me for years and then your kids end up coming to me, and you know, whole families
Can
come
you
to
tie
me.
this
But
into this?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've realized, and I definitely don't mind it. But now that I'm not necessarily taking on like cover-ups per se, now that like cover-ups are kind of like, unless it's a really, really rad idea, cover-ups are kind of being filtered off of my schedule. One of the things that I'm starting to do is like, well, okay, so you want me to do, for instance, Lacey, my appointment for tomorrow. So she talked to me about, she's heavily tattooed on 3 of 4 limbs. And the 4th limb that's not heavily tattooed, she had some rough work on her foot and ankle, and she's got some rough work like high up on her thigh, but she's got a lot of open area that's like ready for me to tattoo. And like, as I'm looking at her whole collection, it's like, even though this isn't what you wanted me to do, like, do you want to rework some of your other things and bring those to life while we brainstorm about this? And she was like, you'll do that? It's like,
Sure.
well, I like, if you're this close to finishing your collection, let's start making everything cohesive. Like,
Right.
if you're down to keep coming to me, let's start tying and connecting everything, and this will just be like the cherry on top. And she was like, I can't believe you want to do that for me. It's
Right.
like, well, I
Because
see
that-
what your
but
overall
that's-
vision you were going for, but like these different artists, I can see where they missed the mark, but I can connect the dots for you.
But that is rare to find someone that's like,
But I just see it sometimes. Like,
yeah.
when, and then once I see it, I can't not put it there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm such a whole collection mindful
Yep.
artist, where like, if this is gonna look this rad, well, I mean, you don't want people asking why the other stuff looks like that, do you? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I do 100%.
Like,
I just had a bunch of stuff reworked by the same guy that did it, and it was like, even just getting that refresh to catch up with
from the age.
and have it match not even match. It wasn't even like a lot of rework. It was just brightening up some colors and you know what I mean? Like, it was a completely different tattoo now. And I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's kind of, for me, when I'm connecting stuff and I'm like filling in pieces of the story, like
It makes it
between
all
pieces that
cohesive.
exist,
That
I
fresh layer
literally
gives
just
it
see
that-
it though. Like, you know what I mean? When tattoos don't connect and there's like random, like,
Right.
I mean, if we put a few more leaves here and bring another bud over here and
Yeah.
another leaf here, like that can all flow really gracefully. And like, it just appears to me sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when my client will be like, well, why didn't they do it like that? It's like,
Because you only had
honestly, they
one
just
piece
might not
there.
have seen it. Like, it's
You-
the weed, man. Like,
well, you might not have been there in your collection to where all the cohesiveness had
Mhm.
made sense. So what was the point of shading in a background that now might not make sense with anything? So a lot of people got, lack of a better term, stamp tattoos,
Yeah.
because in an early collection, you don't know if that person is going to be a heavily tattooed.
to be
individual or
fair,
not.
that is a conversation that I have with people a lot sooner
what are your
on
tattoo
than early
goals?
in my career. Early in my career, it was like, okay, you tell me what you want, I'll do it.
Well-
Early in my career, I didn't take the reins. I really prided myself in, you tell me what you want, and I'm going to do, and I'm going to do as good as I can. I'm going to knock that as far out of the park and exceed your expectations, but I'm going to do exactly what you want. So when people would say, I want this here, I want it this big,
Right.
I didn't have the like,
It's
I
gonna-
didn't realize that I could coach people into getting better tattoos.
Right.
And like, it slowly evolved into like, I mean, I can do that for you, but I might not necessarily share it. Like, I might not post that I did that. And
Right.
then like, to realize like, if I wouldn't be proud that I like proud enough to post it, I probably shouldn't do it, or I shouldn't do
Right.
it in that way, or maybe I should do it in another way that makes it better. And like, over years, it turned into like, okay, yes, I can do all of this, but let's brainstorm about this whole section of your arm, not this one little piece, but let's
Right.
brainstorm about your whole upper arm or your whole lower arm.
See,
or
if you would have asked me early in my collection if I was going to be this tattooed, I would have told you no.
me too.
Absolutely would have told you no. I, in my mind, was going to get a couple trinkets and 1 or 2 large pieces and be done. But the
Welcome back.
mindset was not bodysuit. So now I've got a lot of weird gaps and fillers, and let's throw a rose there and type of, because I wouldn't have been able to answer that question honestly, because when I was 18, I did not think I was going to be tattooed.
I'm really glad that I did not get heavily tattooed as soon as I started tattooing. I'm glad that I was patient, and I was glad that early on, and honestly, it was probably because of conventions like Motor
Right.
City and Hell City, but I'd
Right.
see these other collectors and I just really liked, I prefer where limbs look cohesive.
Yep.
It's my preference. I'm not going to say it's wrong if you don't collect that way, but my preference is I like limbs to be cohesive. So with my own collection, it wasn't like, well, I'm going to just get tattoos on my arms. It was, when I get my arms, I'm going to get a sleeve. And when I
Right.
get my leg, I'm going to get a sleeve. And although my left leg isn't a sleeve, like the large piece that is on it is 2/3 of my upper leg. Like that's a pretty big body panel. So I personally like large cohesive tattoos. And I personally like when one tattoo flows into the other and the whole body becomes to look like an arrangement of artwork,
Right.
like a curated arrangement that flows like a story that changes. That's not right or wrong. That's just my preference. And that's how I prefer to work on people. So that means like if I'm going to do a large project on your leg, I want you to be proud of every tattoo that you have.
See, I remember starting like most of my tattoos were on my torso when I first started getting tattooed. You couldn't see them. So I remember when I made the decision to start tattooing my arm, it was a half sleeve, and I was like, no, we're gonna keep it under the cuff. And my guy was like, okay, we can do that. And as we're doing it, it was just kind of like, well, what's the point? So then he had to shift his idea to be like, all right, well, we'll stack them and we'll do one here and then from that point on, it was designed as a sleeve. It was, we're doing your whole leg. We're doing your whole, you know what I mean? Like actually I did my leg first, but that's what I meant.
The possibility to make a story like wrap and move and be
Right.
cohesive is just so, like when you plan out a whole limb, I just love the freedom that you have.
That was the beauty of working with the same artist for 10 years. He knew that our visions aligned at one point. Do you know what I mean? Like we got to the point where it's like, oh, you're going to collect. If you're going to collect.
It's like, oh, you're in this.
Yeah. I went from little baby trinket tattoo on my leg and then a trinket tattoo on my chest, like, you know, little round target on my chest, to like, all right, dude, let's tattoo my ribs. And we tattooed armpit to hip. And I sat through that. And the next time it was like, all right, let's plan a half sleeve. He was like, all right, you're in. So about halfway through the half sleeve, you know what I mean? He was like, not talking me into
away
it,
are you going to get with this?
He definitely had to coach that conversation of like, you already have this, you already have that. Like you're really going to stop at a half sleeve. And it was kind of like not encouraged, but an open conversation. Like, help me craft the design of this to make sure we're doing it cohesively. And then it was nice to know that the comfort in his cohesion plan was with the same artist.
Yep.
I knew that it was all going to be the same when it was done.
Yep. It's kind of the same way we're approaching your leg. Like we started in on one part of it, but
Right.
as it grows, it will, like, I didn't need to go through and necessarily outline and commit your whole leg. The way that we're doing it, this is going to evolve as we work. You know, it's such a big project that
I love that it
little.
feels like you are starting on one end of a canvas and just
working my way around.
Working your way through. It's like the panorama camera.
Yep.
Like tilty.
My plan is to pretty much come all the way across both legs and then come back. So everything will be settled and healed for several months by the time we come back through and put the final details and little crispies. And so it'll probably be like 85% all the way across. And then we'll have probably a session or two on each leg, just popping in the brightest brights and darkest darks. And it's going to be crazy.
I am very excited.
I'm just excited that, like, so while we're talking about Ben's legs, the whole project is still like in its infancy.
Yeah,
but like the consultation was like, I kind of like that painting and I like that painting and like throw a guy with a hammock in it. And I was like,
that sold. Was even like not even a hard sell. Like it wasn't even like
they were my paintings.
Yeah, no. I meant the hammock guy. It was kind of like hammock camp. I kind of wanted something nature-esque. Could be a chipmunk. Like you know what I mean? Like it was a conversation. It wasn't a do this.
Yep.
So to have us align on the same, like, well, what if we threw a hammock here and did this and did that, and then daydream the fuck out of this. It was
Yep.
it was an easy way to slide into having somebody else on the same page. Like it was really comfortable.
Well, one of the cool things about your collection, you've got so many nature elements, even though like the majority of your tattoos are very American traditional, Japanese influence, traditional. They all have nature elements throughout, be it like the lightning bars, the wind swirls, the water, the snake and flower. Like before I even worked on you, you've got all these nature elements. And then you get to your back piece and it's this crazy geometric skull centipede mashup. And then your hand is geometry. And so you've got this weird mashup of nature elements and geometry. So it's just the perfect storm of Bruin for me to throw in some like daydream elements and some plutonic solids that I love playing with in my paintings, like the icosahedral shape that I put in a lot of stuff.
I'm very excited for the opportunity of the availability to hold that style of color in this area, because on your arms and on your legs that are heavy sun exposed and things,
This is
along
going to
those lines,
look as vibrant as I put it in for the rest of your life.
it is going to stay, because my legs are pasty white and they don't see the sun, and this area is going to be well protected, well guarded, and
it's not too bad when I work on you either, huh?
No, it's an opportunity to really showcase the super high color contrast that you do and not have it be a tattoo where I'm worried about it bleaching out or worried about it getting sun damaged or worried about having to make sure it's covered all the time. That's my appeal to American traditional tattoos on my arms and on my, you know what I mean? It's a very like, that sun bleached is still going to look like a ship. It almost adds that characteristic of what the nostalgia of American traditional tattoos should be. So that's kind of why I chose it. It holds, and I wasn't really trying to. So to have that painter-esque style in an area that is available to hold that color and stay that.
Your yellows will always stay yellow.
I'm pumped
unless you start like sunbathing booty up in like man thong.
You've seen the pastiness. I don't think that's ever going to be an option.
I feel like it'd be a cry for help if I ever saw you like that. Like, Ben,
why you booty tan, bruh?
just get in the van, buddy. Just get in the van. We're gonna have a talk.
Booty tan, bruh? I'm
message received. Get in the van. Get in the van.
I'm one of the weird connector spots that I'm kind of not dreading, but like I've got this weird butt cheek panel.
I think we're just gonna bring some sky up. We'll just continue connecting in a way that'll make sense when we get there.
I thought I had that mapped out, and then it was just like, nope. And so now there's this weird gap, and I'm just so not looking forward to it. Is this? I guess how I'm gonna put it. Not that I'm not looking forward to it, but it's like the one awkward spot left. I'm like, what the fuck we gonna do in this weird ass butt cheek panel? Like, I don't know.
We're gonna have to think about what if we came up with a few topics that would be appropriate, and we then had a poll.
You want a butt cheek pole tattoo?
Yeah, it would be appropriate things that would fit there. It's the spot next to the gorilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's
it's not that big of a space.
Here's my gig. I don't know how keen on advertising the space I am.
It wouldn't be the only tattoo that we can't speak of.
Oh, gosh. I guess if we black bar out my butt crack and just show the available space, I'd be in.
What if we just put a sensor bar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
mean as the tattoo.
No, thank you. Could you imagine writing that across? Like, could you imagine cohesive lettering that had to be able to flex with your crack?
Sensor.
As I walk, you feel like you're tripping. What? No.
What if we put a sign that said, if you see this tattoo, call for help?
Nah. Because I mean, sometimes nah.
What if we just did a classic your name and really cool neon bright letters?
How about like a drop down fluorescent?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Fluorescent neon. Yeah. Like real glowy looking
neon tube style.
Yeah, neon. Like get neon, argon, xenon, glass tube.
Can we add a cord?
A little pull cord? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We could make the
In an
cord hang
appropriate
really,
space.
really low, and people would be like, "What's that tassel go to?"
Funny. Funny.
Funny you should ask.
It's not what you think. That could be the most misconstrued tattoo of all times. People are like, what's that lead to?
Nope.
Nope. Neon light.
Just kidding.
Bet you $100 I got your name on my ass.
I feel
But
like
that
it
would be an awkward
fantastic.
one to like show though. Like normally your name tattoos are on like the outside top cheek. You know what I mean? I would have to like fully expose buttocks to win that bet. Like
It's just butt.
short drop.
It's just butt.
It's like a all butt.
Let's not talk about how much butt's too much butt.
I just show
I feel like
mine
it's
off.
my comfort level of how much butt is too much butt. You can show how much booty you want to show. I don't give a shit. But I mean, I think my brown eye sensor is my brown eye sensor.
It is.
You
I'm
do
just
you.
kidding. I was just kidding.
Oh, I wasn't mad about it. I was just expressing.
I mean, I didn't say spread them. I just
went
said.
there. We were leaving
just
it out. She
said.
was like, nope.
No, I need everybody to be aware. I am not implying that you bend over, spread full moon tonight. I'm just saying, like, pant down. That's not that bad. That's not unheard of. I mean, I like pull both sides of my pants down to show my whole tattoo, and
That's
there's
very
not
true.
even anything exciting there. It just makes the whole tattoo more symmetric and
Right.
impressive when you can see like the symmetry with my anatomy. Good
Okay,
job, Russ.
I'm in.
Good job, Russ.
Deal.
I'm going to do some neon letters.
On.
What color neon?
That's you do colors.
Okay.
I'm a civilian. You're an artist. You pick those things.
Now we're going to have to look at some legitimate neon signs and make some decisions. We're going to work on this later today. Like, I'm not
She's
going to
like,
tattoo you later
"We're
today, but
on.
we're gonna.
Let's go.
We're gonna.
Can this be a back
this is
burner
committed.
thing? Like I wasn't 1, 2, 3 butt cheek tattoo. Like we got open projects.
I mean, that's true,
We got open projects.
but you'll have it to look forward to. And maybe one day I'll be working down below, and we'll just Zensa that cheeky, and I'll just spend an hour zapping it in there, and you won't even feel it.
Yeah, right. Just it'll be cool.
Yeah.
We'll just throw it out there one day.
I know how well the Zensa works on the cheeky. I
Oh,
got
yeah.
you. I can tattoo
I-
that thing
I'm-
numb.
You know I'm a Zensa fan.
Man, so when my butt was tattooed, like a lot of it was done at Ink and Dagger, but a lot of it was done at the Tattoo the
Mhm.
Lou convention in St. Louis. It was a very long day. It was
Taxing.
really a very long, taxing, exhausting day. I was never more thankful to have Prenum, and
Yeah.
by that time, Russ and I were far enough along in the project that he was able to use it very effectively and like numb an area ahead of time appropriately, wipe it off, jump in,
Right.
you know, got in a workflow where the windows of time that were needed were great. And
Right.
because everything's symmetrical, we could pre-numb one area, he could work there while the other side was numbing and kind of jump back and forth. But the end of those sessions where like everything was open and like,
raw.
I mean, it's just sensitive. Like there's nothing to numb it. Like it really is traumatized open skin. Your body knows it's traumatized, even if it's been numb, like with your elbow. Like
Right.
you said the numbing stuff worked great, but you were probably still just as exhausted by the end of the day, weren't you? Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
your body knows. Your
Very.
body knows for
Um,
sure.
When I've got hot stuff writing in Peter Rabbit Easter Bunny on my left cheek. And when we did that, we did it in Nate Marty's living room randomly on Easter weekend with zero prep, with no like went in,
We're just jumping in.
drew it on with a Sharpie. I went in for like he drew it on and I was like, and it went from like, we're going to do this jammer to like, we're doing a tattoo today, dude. And I wasn't
ready.
I wasn't ready.
My gummy berry juice
Not at
bottle
all.
got me.
Not at all.
Did you jump into it?
Oh yeah, we
Yes,
they
yes,
tattooed
sir.
the whole thing. One
Oh,
shot,
yeah.
one kill. Did it all that day. That's how Davey works. We're doing it. It's getting done. It's getting blasted. The color's gonna be in. It's gonna be solid. And it's gonna hold for life.
For life.
The Davey Casey, Davey Rips, whatever his monikers are. as far as like American traditional tattooing, his style, his implications are, and like I've always been a big fan of how he does things. So if he said we're doing this all in one shot, I just said yes, sir. He did my sternum in one shot too, like a big dagger over top of my sternum. Like
It's best just to get the sternum done and out of the way.
I would have paid money to break that session up into two, though. I'm gonna talk about leaving your soul.
Mm.
Like, I would have
Nah,
paid money.
I
to
looked
leave that
forward to getting my sternum finished so little. I had like PTSD. When I would see Ty, my hands would sweat.
session. Yeah.
I'd get like
So I'm happy that I
trembly.
got mine just done in one big
Oh,
swoop.
I
Oh,
get trembly. I mean, I'm cool when I see Ty now because I know like he's not going to tattoo my soul again. And
Right.
not that he was a bad person for tattooing my soul. I appreciate it. I'm grateful that he did.
Absolutely.
Oh,
But that was an experience.
yes.
That was an experience.
Hmm. Now, I don't think I'm tough. That day,
I'm a whiner.
session 2 on my chest proved I am not tough.
Oh, I'm a whiner.
I am not tough at all. I thought I was. I thought I could power through it. No. I could only have one person tattoo me at a time that day,
Oh,
or in that moment
oh.
that day.
Um,
Like there was no, if you can get the like solar plexus of your sternum tattooed at the same time somebody is tattooing anywhere else on your body,
nope.
you are a gangster and superhuman.
You're
I
talking to
don't.
the guy that went into a back tattoo appointment, just laid down, did the whole thing, got ready. About 30 minutes in, was like, nah, brah, cut it. Today's not the day. Today is not the day. I'm sorry. I'm not mentally in the mood. I cannot mentally fortitude myself right now. My brain is 1,000 other places, and this is fucking torture.
I had a session
I
with Adam
need you
like
to
that
stop.
one time,
It
and
had nothing to do with him. It was all my
Mhm.
mental headspace.
yep. There was a session on my back that was that way too, but
Yeah.
I powered through it because I'd already
Nope.
traveled all the way down to Georgia, so both days just sucked.
Luckily, Rich is such fam. He got it. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do this today. And he's like, no, dude, I understand. Just let me finish this one little bit.
Yep.
He tattooed for another like 15 minutes. And I was like, bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's like, no, I get it.
That's the luxury I had when Adam was working on my leg. There were a few sessions where like there was a day where he had some crazy stuff going on, and I was just like, hey, like if you want to just wrap up early, like I won't
cool
be
with that.
mad. Like, and the luxury is I was only an hour away, so
Right.
it's pretty local, so
Right.
it's not a big deal. But there was one day where I was just sitting like garbage, and it was a headspace thing. Like my
Absolutely.
headspace wasn't in the right place, and whatever was going on, and I was just jumpier than usual, and I was just like, I just couldn't get into the groove. Like usually, even if I'm jumpy and life sucks, like after a few minutes, like I
Yeah.
settle and it's
That's
okay.
exactly how that day
But it
was.
just wasn't. And Adam was like, let's reschedule. And I was like, I won't hate you. Like, all right. Another day sounds fantastic. But he made the point. He's like, you're local. There's no sense in sitting here and torturing you when we can do this again in a few weeks and we can get hours and I'm not fighting you and you're
Right.
not running away
Right.
from me. And as a tattooer, I learned in that moment too.
Speak up.
No, just like to pay attention to my clients and like
Right.
if they're just particularly not sitting well, or it comes down to like listening to your client's body. Some days we're built to sit and we can sit for 10 or
Right.
11 or 12 hours. That's not every day. Even my collectors that do sit like rocks, it's not every time.
Right.
Like
I
we're
get twitchy.
living things,
I
and
get
sometimes people
twitchy.
are recovering from colds or
Right.
they're
Just be careful how you
they're
set your
injured in
appointment.
other
Be ready for it.
ways, or
Mentally
Yeah.
prepare yourself. I feel like the impulsive ones are the hardest ones, where it's like, oh, we're gonna tattoo tomorrow, cool. Or we're gonna tattoo today, cool. Those are gonna be the hardest ones.
where you're not mentally
Or
prepared.
you weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
Or even if you just had a crazy day. I mean, it was definitely like work stress inducing. My day went long. I'm running late for the appointment. I didn't get to eat what I wanted for lunch. My nutrition's off. I'm out of balance. Like,
This is another reason I like smoking with my clients when they first get there. Because
They
like
get-
even if they're running late or if I'm running late, we've got that moment of like, it's okay, man. Like
breath.
you got me for the day. We're here, like deflate, let it out.
Right.
Like relax. None of that matters now. You're here. I like having that moment to unwind with my clients.
Right.
Not everybody needs it, but I just like it. I like especially if somebody runs into traffic and they show up flustered, or they're worried that I'm going to be mad that they're late. And, I'm usually just chilling. Like, I never want to put pressure on somebody to like rush. Like, no, it's like, take your time, get your,
So the moral of the story is it's okay. Be open and communicate.
yeah.
But don't be late.
Jordan, and don't be late.
Or Jordan will cut you.
Right. Or I'll
Yeah,
start
I
getting,
will cut you.
I'll give you 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Usually after like 15 or 20 minutes, if I haven't heard from my clients, that's when I start like checking social media
I feel
and
like
email.
a fool. I start to feel like a fool. Once I'm sitting there for 20 minutes to a half an hour, I'm like, all right, now you've started to really waste my time.
You got me.
Even if it's someone I like, you would have communicate.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Communicate, exactly.
And if you don't, like, I'm sitting here for 20 minutes, like money is
Communication
literally
is the
flying
key
by
to
right now.
So much.
Yeah, I usually give it like a
can
full hour before
Always
I'm
have
like,
something else I can be doing.
I usually give the full hour before I'm like, all right, I'm heading out. My client shows up, call me.
Yeah. I'll give an hour before I leave the studio. 20 minutes before, I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. I'm starting to decide to be a little bit more angry about this.
So communicate
Yeah.
openly and honestly
All right.
with everyone all the time.
All right, guys, we rambled for 3 hours already today.
3:01.
All right. And I left for 15 minutes.
Dude, it was baller. I didn't think you'd be back that fast.
Right.
Happy
I'm
to see
literally
you.
around the corner.
Pop right back in. Beautiful.
So next week, 50th episode, we're going to have Adam join us. I don't know. We're probably going to talk about aliens a lot. We're probably going to talk about tattoos a lot. We'll probably talk about traveling a lot. We'll probably just like recap everything.
We don't talk about it all.
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
But it'll be a fun show. It probably won't be super serious,
Bionic
but it's going to be a
aliens.
fun show. Yep.
My favorite.
I think, will it be the first time that we've had just Adam on?
I'm not sure.
I know he joined the panel.
No, we've done some other ones. I don't know about live with Reinventing back
Yeah.
when we were doing them standalone when we
Mhm.
went out to Oregon.
Yep.
But cool, guys.
All right,
well,
guys.
great show. Y'all know where to find us at this point.
Woo, woo.
Peace.
See you next week.
Later.
Thanks, Ben.